All right, welcome to NCAA Football 2004 for the Xbox here, and we'll be looking at another matchup. Yeah, there's going to be a matchup. Pretty sure. We just need to set the right teams. I'm going to take on the best team in the game according to its preseason rankings, which in this case I guess would be the Ohio State Buckeyes. And we're going to take them on with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Again, in 2003, the Tar Heels weren't particularly good, so this should give you a good idea of at least how much I played this game. We are going to play again on All-American level, like we did for the College Football 2003 game. And this does mean that a little bit of my patented cheesing won't work out quite as well as I would like due to the level. NCAA Football 2004 represents the game that first got me into the NCAA Football series. Courtesy of a friend who let us borrow it for long periods of time. So shout out to Mike for that. Of course, this copy is my own copy, purchased years later. And we're going to be playing in the Cotton Bowl, or at least the old Cotton Bowl. I think they play the Cotton Bowl these days in Jerry World in Dallas, but this is back when it was still outside. You'll notice our commentators are still Nestler, Corso, and Herb Street, and they still have the same sort of pregame talking points. And you'll notice that Maurice Clarett has a name. This is sort of more or less the exception rather than the rule. Okay, while the entire North Carolina roster is going to be named because that's where I was, the Ohio State roster will only have a few players with names. You can see this here, most of the guys having the position and number designation. So again, to any Ohio State fans who are watching this and wondering where their guys' names are, sorry about that. All right, so we're going to go and change a couple things real quick before we get too far into this game. Mostly I'm going to make a slight adjustment to this formation here and put a different receiver out on the left-hand side. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is because he's a taller receiver and a faster receiver. None of the receivers were given particularly great ratings in this game, and oddly enough, that was a position of strength on this particular North Carolina team. We're also going to switch out Alden Blizzard for Jacques Dumas again. We played with Dumas in the last game, and so we're going to do it here. And our kicking is already back where we know and love it from the last couple of things. So after a couple of missed tackles on Chris Gamble, we're going to get started off here. Now you can see the formation they're going to run. So they're going to run this sort of three wide, one back formation, but it's first down. So I figure they're going to send Clarett with the ball. So I go for a 4-3 defense. And yes, there he is. And he bounces off of Malon Carey and gets taken down by Dexter Reed. This was Dexter Reed's senior season, so this is the highest his ratings ever got. He would end up playing for the New England Patriots the next year, including spending some time in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Okay, Clarett gets another yard, and you'll notice some of the colors changing on the players' jerseys. And that's because fatigue was introduced as a component for the first time here. So your players will get tired, and eventually they'll get tired enough that they will be subbed out. And it's going to happen to both our players and the opposing team. You can see that because I'm using the sprint button a lot with Dumas, he's the most tired guy on the defense after this fullback completely runs over us for a few yards. It's Clay Roberson making an appearance there. And I'm going to go to a 4-4 defense to try to slow down this running game. I wouldn't ordinarily like to do this, and in fact I'm going to make a different change later. But we do prevent Claret from getting the pass there. And we're going to stay in the 4-4 until they get into a passing situation. Fumble, but they get it back. While the 2003-2004 Buckeyes were coming off of a national title just, I think, a year prior. There's the appearance by Mr. Dexter. And so we intercept the ball, and that means that we can take control of the game here. So they still have a lot of that talent on the roster, and that's the reason why they were ranked number 1 at the beginning of the season. Of course, this would be the first. This is sort of the weird season where LSU and Oklahoma played for the title, but USC was given the title by the AP. And our success in taking control of the game ends as we just give it right back to the Ohio State offense. We throw our own pick. And we threw a pick running a play I like a lot, but I was trying to do something with that play I don't normally do with it, and I'll explain that later. Here's Drew Carter, who would later play with the Carolina Panthers, making a catch there. Yeah, so now I'm going to start using the Thunder Green defense on first down situations, and that will send both outside linebackers to attack and kind of muck up the running lanes. And so you'll see Larry Edwards, who I think was only a freshman with this Carolina roster, get in on a lot of these plays here. Okay, Reed almost stops Claret, but he's forced to change direction. Fortunately, Malon Carey comes over and gets him on the other side. The North Carolina defense in 2003 still hadn't quite recovered from the loss of talent the previous season. So a lot of these guys are the same. A number of them, unfortunately, a bunch of them are a year older. There was also some new inclusions. You got Isaiah Thomas on the defensive line as a new defensive tackle. Chase Page got some more time. But the defensive end position was still weak enough that Hedgecock was used as a defensive end during this particular season. And then he would be moved back to fullback full-time during his senior year in the next season. All right, so now we've tired Dumas out, and we've got Alden Blizzard as our end. Now we're going into a 4-4 defense to try to stop them. I don't like going into a pure goal line defense just because the coverages aren't very good. and Maurice Collette tries to dive in from 3 yards out and gets nowhere. And so now we're into our field goal, or they're into a field goal formation, and I'm going to just go ahead and stay in this 4-4 defense for kicks. This will give me coverage on the fake, and it'll send about as many guys as the field goal thing sends. The only thing it won't do is send the guys from the outside. And again, blocking field goals just doesn't happen very much in this game.
Ohio State is ready to kick it away.
Right, so we're going to receive the kickoff here with just under a minute to go in the first half. Remember last time our possession ended with a interception that we threw, but we're going to go back to the same play where we threw the interception. I'm going to show you how, hopefully I'm going to show you how this works. You can see I've played this a bunch more, and this doesn't include my my stats on. So we're going to go down, and you'll note that our receiver here, Darius Bowman, a freshman, on the left-hand side there, he got into a gap between the corner and the safety, and we're going to try to do it again. You got to do it, pull it off relatively quickly. This time we throw the ball too high, the safety comes in, and we can't get him the ball. So we're going to go ahead and switch out of this play. We're going to run a little bit of option ball to get back into the middle of the field. I don't recommend using the option too much in these early Madden games. Not early Madden games. Early college football games. They really started working out the kinks with the option, I think, about 2 games later. So I think College Football 2006 made the option more viable. All right, Willie Parker again, our tailback. This was Parker's senior season. In real life, the Tar Heels used a running back by committee group. But, I'm kind of doing my own thing here. Also, Hedgecock wouldn't have been really around because he would have been playing defense. All right, we take out a strong safety from Ohio State's roster there, trying to get the first down. It's 3rd and 1, so we're going to send the fullback. And so he gets plenty. And then we can go back to moving the ball with the running back. And there you see that the Ohio State starting strong safety is going to be done for the game. Keep an eye on that injury because it will come back and be of importance later. Not because I'm going to abuse the backup strong safety with pass routes, but for something else. All right, this time they shut us down pretty close to the line, so it's 3rd and 6. And we need something that we can do on 3rd and 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in 5 wides, spread them out, and see who they decide not to cover with a guy at the line. And then I'm going to try to get the ball to them as soon as possible. So you see the linebacker went out to cover Bowman over here on the left. So that was my clue that is where I wanted to be with that. And so now we're going to go back to trying to run the ball. In this playbook, unlike the previous one in 2003, there were several other plays in the I-twins that I like to run, including this one, the counter lead. Okay, and so we almost scored there, and I guess if we, you've probably noticed that I don't juke a lot. one thing, it makes fumbling more of a thing, but the other, it's also just, that's a lot of buttons to try to keep track of at one time. So I'm just better off, with the sprint button and the control stick. All right, so Hedgecock runs into the end zone for us. And we are set up for the extra point.
And he tacks on the extra point. Over 3 minutes remain in the second quarter, and the score is North Carolina 7, Ohio State 3. Everyone's all lined up and ready for the kickoff.
And in the second quarter, kicking it back to Ohio State, we now have a 7-3 lead. And they get another good return here. But now we're kind of committed to this Thunder Green first down, second down defense to shut down the Ohio State run game. So Krenzel's going to throw it at us. And he throws his second pick to Dexter Reed. And I guess if I had managed that slightly better, I could have gotten to the end zone. But, I was kind of running on a balance there. So once again, we're given an opportunity here on the 15-yard line to put this game solidly into our control. And I'm going to use Madison Hedgecock as the lead blocker as long as I can. You'll note that Parker is still exhausted from the last drive. So instead, I've got the backup tailback, Jock Lewis, in the game right now. Lewis, more of an all-purpose guy, not quite the speed of Parker. But if you block it right, anybody can walk into the end zone. But Lewis was part of the running back committee that the Tar Heels used in 2003, and it really didn't work well. I think the Tar Heels had a 2-win season or something like that, including a loss to Duke, which was a rare event, particularly considering how bad Duke was during this time. No, that's not the reason I didn't choose to play the Victory Bell matchup at the beginning. I'm sure you guys can figure out that, based on team ratings, that it wouldn't have been much of a challenge. All right, so we're kicking off now at 14-3. And now we're in even better position as the halftime gets closer. Chris Gamble with a decent return. Gamble does play both ways in this game. I'm not sure if he does by default, but he certainly did after I subbed him in as a wide receiver or corner, whatever he's not listed at. But that was done a long time ago, not right specifically for this game. Okay, Claret's going to swim forward for about 8 yards, and at this point, he and Willie Parker have about the same stats. Neither of them are particularly impressive. The defensive speed for their team, and hopefully my defensive play calling, basically sort of shut down the two running games. Here's a false start. So now they're going to go into the ace formation. Now, the play in the ace formation that we abused people with, sort of, in the last game, the PA counter, is still there. It's just not part of my playbook. Okay, so we're going to stop Claret short here with a minute 45 on the clock. I guess I could have called a timeout here, tried to get the ball back quicker. I really didn't want to tempt fate. All right, Malon Carey shuts down the back in the backfield, and I guess that's slightly ironic. Carey played a little bit of tailback his sophomore year.
They send out the punting unit. He gets it away. Number 18 fields it at the 22.
There we go. We see an example of me juking and getting a couple more yards out of it. Okay, now we're going to go back to the PA toss the cross play, where the idea is to hit Bowman, and if you can, try to manipulate the quarterback and throw to the left to keep it away from that safety. Now, I don't actually remember to do this during the game. It only occurred to me in commentary. And for some reason, we decided instead of going for the jugular with another throw to Bowman over the left, I try to run it to the right. I don't know if I'm just trying to be careful, but, you know, there's 49 seconds to go. I probably would have been better just taking a few shots at the end zone. Because even when Ohio State lines up favorably to what we're trying to do, and I picked the wrong, I wanted the 5 wide receiver set. I ended up with the 4 wide receiver set. So I ended up with a play I really didn't want. I almost threw a pick doing it. So now we're forced to kick the field goal. And a couple things to remember. 1, I don't like field goals. 2, I don't have a great kicker. So we blow it. And with 3 seconds to go, they're going to just run the ball to end the half. And that's going to be it for this half. So we're up 14-3 going into the second half. We've had some stuff work. We've had some stuff not. And I'll see you next time.